A team that I think is one of the more surprising 0-2s just by the team name alone and the amount of talent is Cloud9. But I do want to give them a little bit of grace considering, I said at the beginning of the show that Atlanta probably had the hardest week one schedule. I want to take that back, and I want to say that Cloud9 had the hardest week one schedule. They come into the league. Obviously, this is the rebranded New York Subliners, a new team with only Sib being retained, and they play two of the very best teams, and you could argue the two best teams in LAT and OpTic in week one. That is a killer's row, and they got killed. They win one map. They go 1-6 in map count this weekend. The only win being a comeback round 11 win against LAT. They get swept by OpTic. They're pretty much blown off the map pretty much in every other map, which that might be a little concerning that they weren't even really close to winning these maps. How much do you make of that? How much do you put into these week one performances from Cloud9?
I think the one thing that jumped out, especially after Cloud9's loss to LA Thieves, was the whole like drama around the server situation and everything like that. So it is, we've talked enough about online COD and the the drawbacks to just the nature of online matches versus LAN, et cetera, et cetera. The thing for me with this, I don't want to get too much into like the whole attach, like claiming like some server they used to play on. I think he said like a Denver server or something was worse this year, and like it didn't work out as an option. Like all that, regardless, just the fact that Cloud9, as far as I'm aware, at least, I believe this is like according to like that opening podcast that Cloud9's COD team did, or maybe it's just fugazi that I'm making up. I don't think it is, but as far as I'm aware, at least, I believe it was said that Cloud9 made the Call of Duty team move to Los Angeles to compete, and I think as far as I know, the team is in LA, and I believe they are living like Cloud9 has like either facilities or houses where they have like the LCS team. It's not the LCS anymore, whatever it is for League of Legends. But like they have this set up there, and I believe that's where the team is living, like in a house near that, or like in like a community there, whatever it is. But just the notion of like them, I know Cloud9 is quote unquote new to Call of Duty and coming back and returning, but the players should have been able to say something like, look, in the current landscape of Call of Duty, teams, the majority of teams are playing in Texas, and teams that have competed from California in the past have been at a severe disadvantage in these online matches. The online matches are an important part of the schedule. Whether you agree with that or not, that's just not up for debate, because we could sit here and talk about it, but it is a reality that's not changing unless we somehow go back to the 2020 home series schedule that just didn't pan out. Online matches are here to stay in some form, and having the team go to LA when like as a player signing with Cloud9, like someone like, again, I'm not going to put it on Attach, but Attach is like, the brand personality really here for the team, and he should be a veteran. We've talked about it, like one of the players who's been around now the longest of active players competing. He should have been able to talk to Jack and be like, look, I know you want us to be in Los Angeles with the Cloud9 where everything is going on. I think that is going to put us at a severe disadvantage in these online matches, and obviously if that puts us at a disadvantage, that could make our performance worse, that make things look worse for the brand, yada yada. That should have at least again, that could have been a conversation. Cloud9 could have just been like, yeah, we don't care, we want you guys in LA. Like, regardless, we don't know any of that. I just think like the fact that we're going to sit here and again, these are tough matches that Cloud9 played, and you can't say like, maybe if they were on less of a ping disadvantage. Maybe the matches are closer, maybe they win. Like, I guess you can say that, but at the end of the day, these were going to be tough matches for Cloud9 regardless. If we have Cloud9 out here losing to some other teams that on paper they should not be losing to, and that's because of like a ping disparity, then that changes the conversation a little bit. But I just think like it's a really tough situation where, you know, we don't know all the details and what's going on, but if the players weren't able to at least like express that competing from Los Angeles in these online matches that determine your seeding for the lands, and that could put us on the back foot and set us back to start the season, set us back going into the lands, put us in the loser bracket to start matches, et cetera, et cetera. I could ramble on that for a while and I'm already getting worked up. But short answer, I just think it's tough to, you know, we've said it where there have been the matches where like LA is playing teams on the East Coast and it's the cross. When the Florida Mutineers were playing from Florida and playing against the LA teams, like saying like there were issues, like that's just always going to be happening now with these online matches, and there's really nothing we can do about it. It's just an unfortunate situation and circumstance, but it is a reality, and that's just the situation that Cloud9 is going to have to deal with now for the rest of the year, unless there's some solution the league can come to either like fix those servers or find a server that's, you know, in between where these teams are all playing in Cali that's a little better connection wise for both people. I don't know what the solution is. End of the day, it's just these were two matches for Cloud9 that were going to be tough, even if they were on LAN. And I think it's tough. I really don't know.
And attached, he said that they were made to play on a combined 140 ping for the match against OpTic or forfeit. And he said there's a server where the pings are even, but not allowed to play on that according to the CDL. So there's some kind of disconnect. Like,
yeah, I can see that. So that's even crazier.
So that's the OpTic one. Obviously, there were server problems with the Thieves match as well. I think overall, like you're hitting the nail on the head that like it is a C9 problem, like an organizational problem as well, that they're making, like, you know, this is according to like one player, or like, you know, we don't know all of the details, I guess, but let's just say Cloud9 is making their players relocate to Los Angeles to play from LA rather than getting to pick where, you know, they want to play, which would have been Dallas. Okay, like I see their point, but it's also not competitively viable, or it's going to be even harder on these teams. We've seen, you know, LAT in the past, like they forced their guys to play from LA, and they would always complain, especially when they played like Atlanta, because that's literally cross country, and whatever server is gonna like be best is probably, you know, be best for LA is probably not best for Atlanta, and vice versa. And it just causes all these issues, and it causes inconsistency, which is pretty much exactly what these Call of Duty players don't want. It creates inconsistency in the scrims because you're not getting as high quality of practice as you probably could if you were in Dallas scrimming other teams that are in Dallas. You're also, you know, obviously the matches are very, very important. There's so many online matches in current CDL that you're just putting yourself at a huge disadvantage in terms of CDL points, and therefore how you're going to be seeded in the new minors, which are also online, and it's I believe a single elimination tournament, so it's even worse in that it only takes 3 maps and then you're out. And then you go to these majors and you might start in the losers bracket. Again, it only takes 3 maps at that point because you did so poorly in the online matches. Granted, I don't want to wave away some of the that this is the entire problem with C9, or that the reason that they lost to these two teams who are, like you said, this was going to be a tough matchup regardless of it was online or offline. But I think, you know, it's a good point to raise that there's an issue here, and I mean, it's the issue with the modern CDL in a nutshell, that this is Cloud9 New York. These guys have been relocated to Los Angeles, even though they want to play in Dallas. That is
You
the
would assume, at least.
yeah. They would probably be best suited to play from Dallas or near Dallas. That's kind of ridiculous in and of itself. Like there are 3 locations. None of they're not going to play from New York. I think the Subliners did. I think like the very first season, and then I'm pretty sure they relocated to Dallas. It's all stupid. I believe like we have to figure this out. I don't know if like an LCS model is viable. I tend to think that's not viable, where you can relocate all of these players to one location and start playing from there on a consistent basis, or play LAN matches like we used to when they would go to Columbus or something similar. But I think something will eventually have to be done, or we're just going to keep running into these issues, which are brought up every single season by multiple teams typically. And it seems like C9 might be one of those teams that is at a major disadvantage, at least for the foreseeable future. We'll see if anything comes of that.